So we are working on the basic setting, and yesterday we have completed till the step number 11. Okay, where in the CO we have maintained the number range, document number range. Now we have step number 12 where we need to maintain the version. What is the use of the version? Actually, version we use to do the comparison, to find out the gaps, to find out the variance. So, for example, in the CO, if we have the planned values and we have the actual values, so we'll be able to find out the variance with the help of this version. And this version, we need to link it at which level? At a controlling area level. So for this maintain version, we need to run this transaction code OKAQ. Let's go into the system. Transaction code is OKAQ. Enter. And you can just see the standard, the default version provided by the SAP, through which we will be able to find out the difference for our planned data vis-a-vis the actual data. So this is the version 0 that we are going to assign it to our controlling area. How it is to be assigned? First, you select this version 0. Go on the left side. You have been given the controlling area. Below this, you have a option setting for the each fiscal year. Double click on this. And then you need to enter your controlling area. We are working for the controlling area 2266, and you can just see this is the version 0 which we are going to assign it. When you are going to assign it for the first time, system is going to make it default for next 5 years. So if I just press enter button, you can just see this version has been assigned to this controlling area for the year 2024 to 2028. Okay. So till the 2080 till the year 2028, we can use the same version. But what after that? So every year as a part of the year end activity, we need to extend this version from previous year to next year. So for example, we are in the year 2028, and now I need to extend it to the year 2029. So how I will be able to do it? So it is simple. You need to select your year. So for example, I'm picking the year 2028, and then you can just see there is an option called copy as. Click on this. So for which year you want to do the extension? So you want to do the extension for the year 2029, and then press enter button, and then you can just see this is how we will be able to extend it to the next year. So this is how we will be able to extend it every year. Now I'm going to save it. But by default, when we are going to save it for the first time, it will be saved for like next 5 years by default. So here we can just see our transport request that is not there. Let me just create quickly. Enter. Then we can move to the next step. Step number 13. In the last lecture, like I have shown you that how for the different types of accounting reporting or financial reporting for the accounting standard, we need to follow the ledger. We need to maintain the ledger. So it is a leading ledger, non-leading ledger. And we have seen in the classic accounting how we maintain the GL number range, and or how we maintain the account number range, and that is how we used to maintain the reporting for the IFRS or for the another accounting standard. Now here it is saying that in the SAP S4 HANA, we need to maintain the accounting principle. So if you need to do the reporting according to the US standard, or according to the local gap, or according to the international accounting standard, so for that we need to define this accounting principle. And where it is to be defined, so here it is saying that the path has been given. We need to go to the financial accounting, global setting, ledger, parallel accounting, and here we have an option to define the accounting principle. So let's go into the system, follow the path, SPRO, enter, IMG, and we can go to the financial accounting, global setting, ledger, parallel accounting, and you can just see we have an option to define the accounting principle. So we can click on this accounting principle. You can just see the existing accounting principle. We have the US GAAP, IFRS, we have local GAAP. So likewise, we can also define our accounting principle, and the ID for this accounting principle, we can maintain up to the 4 character could be alphanumeric. Let's click on the new entry button, give the accounting principle ID. It is, let's say, same as a company code ID, 2266. And this is the accounting principle we want to have for US GAAP. US GAAP. So press enter button, save it, and then enter. Now, whenever you are using any accounting principle, it is to be linked to your target ledger. You can just see the next step we have, assign the accounting principle to the ledger group. And if you also see the practice sheet, in this we have step number 13 and we have step number 14 where we need to assign this accounting principle to the ledger group. So the by default the ledger group we have, it is the standard ledger, leading ledger, but it can be in non-leading ledger as well. But here we are going to assign it to the leading ledger, which is 0L. So how it is to be assigned? For this, we need to go to this option called assign accounting principle to the ledger group. And you can just see 0L, 0L, 0L. So 0L is your leading ledger. You can also see some other ledger ID. So this can also be if you have some different accounting principle. For example, you have local GAAP, IFRS, which you want to get assigned to your non-leading ledger. So that can also be done. Now we need to click on the new entry button, and here we need to have our accounting principal ID, which we have maintained as 2266 as a US GAAP. And this US GAAP accounting principle, we want to link it to the target ledger group ID, which is 0L. 0L, that is the leading ledger. So now I'm going to save it, click on the save option, and then we can come out of it. So we have completed the step number 14. Now we need to move to the step number 15, where it is saying that let's maintain the ledger. So here we will find out the difference between the ECC environment and SAP S/4HANA environment, because this is the new area where we can maintain the ledger, and we can also find out the new information like the standard ledger, extension ledger, and this can also be done. This screen can also be accessed through a transaction code. It is SFIN, I think, or it is FINSC. Fin SC underscore ledger. Let me just try it. Fin SC ledger. Yeah, this is the transaction code we have. Enter. And if you also want to go through the path, so we can also try the path. So this is a screen which system is going to show you. Okay. Ledger view. Now, if you want to follow through the path, you can go to the SPRO, IMG, and then you can go to the financial accounting, then global setting, then ledger, again ledger. You have a first option called define the setting for the ledger and currency type. So you can click on this. So if you have additional currency, you want to maintain some freely defined currency apart from your hard currency or group currency or company code currency. So that currency also you can add here. Currency conversion for the company code. So you can add that currency over here for your company code. Here you can just double click on the ledger and you can maintain here the ledger. So by default, SAP has given us a standard ledger, leading ledger, which is with the ID 0L. So with the same 0L ID, we have assigned our accounting principle in the previous step. Now you can just see it. We can maintain this ledger as a standard ledger or extension ledger. So this is the, if the checkbox is ticked, it is a leading ledger. If the checkbox is not ticked, then this is a non-leading ledger. So this is the leading ledger, except that all are the non-leading ledger. And this leading and non-leading ledger we can maintain as a standard ledger. And I have also given you the example for the extension ledger. So if you want to maintain any ledger as extension ledger, then what it will do? So in that, if you try to do some posting, so along with those posting, it is also going to take the data from your source data from your underlying ledger. You can just see example of the C3, C4, C5. Okay, so all these are the extension ledger. And in this extension ledger, you can just see what is the base ledger. So the base ledger is your leading ledger, which is 0L. So in this extension ledger, if we make the transaction, so along with those transactions, system is going to get the data from where? From the 0L ledger. That is the leading ledger. And in the C4, if we do the reporting, then we make the transaction in the extension ledger. Apart from those entries, we made it in the extension ledger. System is also going to pick the data from where? From the non-leading ledger, from the non-leading ledger C1. Okay. Now in this, you can just click on the new entry button. And for example, my extension ledger is EN. And here I have given the name as extension ledger for local reporting. And here it is to be maintained as a extension ledger. Then after that, you can just see we have the further, you can just see ext ledger type. So extension ledger type we can maintain as standard journal entries. We can also maintain this option line item with a technical number, with a deletion possible and with a no deletion possible. So if you take this standard journal entries, so it is going to pick your normal accounting entries. But if you select this line item data with the technical number, so it is also only going to take the data which is non-financial data. So for example, you have the sales order. So sometime we want to pick those sales order and we need to send it to the other object like the COPA. We need to send this information to the profitability analysis. So for this reason, we can select this option called line item with a technical number. And deletion possible if those sales order we want to get deleted, and no deletion possible if we don't want to get that deleted. Now here the next is when you are going to define any extension ledger, then it has to be some base. Without base, system is not going to pick it. For example, if I just press enter button, now you can just see it is saying that no underlying ledger has been assigned to your extension ledger. So it is mandatory. It has to be dependent on some standard ledger, and that standard ledger could be leading or non-leading ledger. So if I just enter here 0L, so now you can just see this time that error has not come. Okay, so for the time being, we are going to use the leading ledger, and down the line, we'll be also creating the extension ledger and we'll see how the entries are going to be derived by a system, how the balances are going to be shown in the standard as well as in the extension ledger. So for the leading ledger, we need to go to the 0L, select this 0L leading ledger, and we need to assign our company code to this leading ledger. For this, what we need to do? So we need to go on the left side. We have this option called company code setting for the ledger. Double click on this and then press enter button. Now here you can just see you will get your company code. Click on position button if it is not visible. So our company code ID is 2266. And then we can just see we have our company code. We can see the name. We can also see the local currency, global currency. If you go on the right side, it will also show you all these three currency which we have in the ECC environment. Like we have the first currency, second currency, third currency. Since we have not taken the third currency, that is the reason it is blank. If you want to take the third currency, then it is going to show you here. And apart from these three currencies, so what new we have in the SAP S/4HANA, which is freely defined currencies. And these are freely defined currency. We can maintain up to 8 currencies. So in the 8 currencies, we can maintain our financial data if required as per the client requirement. Now, in this, what we need to do? So here we can just check the local currency, global currency, go on the right side. If your posting period variant, your fiscal year variant, it is not assigned, you can assign it here. Then we can also see the accounting principle. Let it be the accounting principle which we have with us. It is 2266. And then we can save it. Click on the save option. Now we have one more sub node on the left side. Actually here it has created a extension ledger. So I don't want to create it right now. So just come out of here. EN I want to get deleted. We'll create it later. So it is also giving the confirmation that the ledger EN has been deleted. Now we need to focus on this 0L, that is a leading ledger. Check our company code and select the company code here. Let's select the company code 2266. Then you can just see there is an option called accounting principle for the ledger and company code. Double click on this. Click on the new entry button. What's our accounting principle? So our accounting principle is 2266. Enter, save, and then we can come out of here. So this is the ledger setting which we have done. Now we can just come out of here. After maintaining the ledger in the step number 15, we need to go to the step number 16 where we can define the ledger for the CO version. Again, this is a new step which has been added in the SAP S/4HANA, and this step we don't follow. We were not having in the ECC environment. So what here we are doing? So we are defining this leading ledger, this 0L ledger we are defining for our CO data also for the CO version. And that is the reason here we need to define it for the CO version. How? What is the path? So the path is you can just come out of here the financial accounting. Here we are in the financial accounting, come out of here and go to the controlling data. Here you can just see we have an option called controlling, open it. In this you need to go to the general controlling, and in the general controlling you need to go to the organization. Under the organization, you can check the last option. We have the define ledger for the C version. If you also observe here, we have maintained the controlling area. We have also maintained the number ranges for our CO data. And now we need to maintain the ledger. We have also maintained the version. Okay. Remember the version which we have maintained with OKQ. Now this is the next thing we are doing. We are defining the ledger for the CO version. So we can click on this, and here simply what you need to do, just pick the standard data. In our case it is 0001. So pick the standard data and then click on the copy as option. So what we are trying to do here, we are giving our controlling area 2266, and this we are going to assign it to the version 0 in the CO, and here we are assigning to the target ledger group 0L. So what we are basically doing here, we are assigning the 0L leading ledger to our version 0. So now press enter button in the controlling area 2266. Now we can save it. Click on the save option, enter, again enter. Come out of here. Then after completing this step number 16, we have step number 17 where we need to define the document splitting. So we need to activate the document splitting. Basically what this is, when we want to do the reporting, so that reporting could be according to the company code data, company code wise financial data we can present. We can also present the data according to some required characteristics. Now the required characteristics could be your profit center, it could be segment also. So as per the IFRS reporting, if we need to make the data, if we need to make the financial reporting as per the profit center or as per the segment wise reporting, we need to do it. So for that, this document splitting activation is required. Without this, it is not going to give us the correct figure. So for this, we have a dedicated topic, we have a dedicated lecture. So I'm going to tell you that document splitting from the scratch, okay? But here, because without this document splitting, system is going to give us the error message. So in order to avoid that error message, so I have added this step over here. So here, for the sake of posting the document and not getting the error, so we need to do these three steps. So first, we need to classify our GL according to the item category, and these item categories are standard provided by the SAP. We can't add our own item category. We can't have the custom item category. We need to choose the item category from the list provided by the SAP, and then we can activate the document splitting. So how it is to be done? For this, we need to go to the financial accounting once again. Go back to the financial accounting. In this, we need to go to the general ledger accounting, GL accounting, and under the GL accounting, go to the business transaction document splitting. In the document splitting, we need to go to the first step called classify the GL account for the document splitting. Click on this. Confirm the chart of account ID, which is 2266. Enter. Click on the new entry button. You can just see account range. We need to give it according to the item category list provided by the SAP. So we need to select. Oh. like the relevant item category for that particular set of GL which we have classified here. So I have already classified the GL here. I'm going to take it. So what set of GL I'm going to take it? So I'm going to take the balance sheet account. Then I will be taking the revenue account, expense and cash account. So here I'm going to copy this number range and then we can just paste it over here. Now the first set of GL we have from 100,000 to 2999. This I'm going to maintain it under the item category balance sheet account because these are going to be my balance sheet account. Then the next set of GL will be having from 300,000 to 3999. So this I'm going to cover under the item category income or revenue 30,000. Then the next set of GL I'm going to take it from 400,000 to 4999 under the item category expense 20,000. And the last for the cash GL, I'm going to take the item category as cash. It is 4,000. 4,000. Press enter button. Description will be derived by the system automatically. We need to save it. Click on the save option and then we can just come out of here. Then we can go to this next step. If you just see the practice sheet, define the document splitting for the general ledger accounting. So go back. Here we have a option called define the document splitting for the general ledger accounting. Define the document splitting characteristics for the general ledger accounting. So any particular characteristics you want to have it so that you can just select it. It will be mandatory. So without giving the information for this profit center segment, then the system will not allow you to do the posting because that is the ask under the document splitting characteristics which we are confirming here. If you will not select this checkbox, then it will be optional. So let it be optional. Then we can come out of here and we can go to the last step called activate the document splitting. Now this activation of document splitting, we do it at a client level. This is not something we do it at a company code level, we do it at a client level. So here, if I just see, it is already selected. We can just see here, it is already selected because somebody else would have activated it for their company code. And because it is activated at a client level. So here we can also see for our company code. But if you want to deactivate it for some of the company code, then you have the option to get it deactivated for your company code or for some particular set of company code. So for this, you can just go to this second option called deactivation per company code, and you need to select the checkbox. For example, you can just see we have here the checkbox for the company code 1000. So for the 1000, this document splitting will be inactive. And wherever you can just see the checkbox is deselected. So for all this company code, document splitting will be activated. So for the activation of document splitting, so this checkbox should be selected and the level of inheritance, the level of detail, this inheritance checkbox should be selected. Then we can just come out of here. And here the steps related to the document splitting are completed. So now we need to move to the step number 20. So we need to also create the segment. So we'll do the segment reporting. So we'll create the segment and how it is to be created. Again, for this, we need to go to the enterprise structure where we need to use this segment. So when we will be creating the profit center, over there we have a option that we can assign the segment. So here, if we want to maintain the data and the data should be having profit center and segment. So for that, we need to define the segment in the SPRO, IMG, then enterprise structure, definition, financial accounting. Here you have the second last option called define the segment. Define the segment. Now, if you want to see the example for the segment, so we can have the retail business, wholesale business, e-commerce. We can have online, offline business platform. So these we can maintain as a segment. Now we can click on the new entry button. So we can have here the segment. Let's say it is 2266 1. So this is what retail business 2266 2, and this is what this is the wholesale business. Enter. Now we can save it and we can come out of here. Then after this step number 20, we have step number 21 where we need to activate the profit center accounting. And for this profit center accounting, we need to run this transaction code 0KE5. Transaction code is 0KE5. We are doing here the step number 21. Enter. You can just see it is taking you your controlling area, which is 2266. But if due to any reason system is not picking your controlling area, some other controlling area is there, then how you will be able to default it? So you need to run a transaction code which is OKKS. Transaction code is OKKS, through which you will be able to default your controlling area. So whatever the controlling area we are entering here, let's say it is 2266, so it is going to take it default. Now let's go to the 0KE5 and then after that we can just see here we have a option to give the standard hierarchy. So we need to give the profit center standard hierarchy. And this standard hierarchy, I'm going to give it as PCTR, that is the technical name of the profit center. And then we can give the ID as 2266. After that, here it is asking for the profit center currency type. So what should be the profit center currency type? So it could be a group currency, and this group currency type we have 30. So let's select here 30. Let's select here 30. And after the 30, automatically you can just see we have a field for the profit center local currency. So automatically it will be driven by the system as USD. So press enter button. Now you can just see it is automatically driven by the system as USD, and that is our group currency. And here we can just see from which year you want to get this profit center accounting activated. From year 2024, select this checkbox and then save it. Click on the save option and then we can just come out of here. So we have completed the step number 21. Now we need to go to the step number 22 where we need to define the dummy profit center. So the question is, what is the dummy profit center? Dummy profit center is a kind of your suspense account. You have the amount which you need to assign to the GL, but you don't know the GL to which that amount to be debited or that amount to be transferred. So for that reason, you will be creating a suspense account and you will be keeping that amount in that GL, in that suspense account. Once you come to know that, okay, this is a GL to which that amount belongs to and you need to transfer it to, then you can transfer from a suspense account to the relevant GL account. So the same thing applies here for the dummy profit center. So due to any reason, system is not able to find out the relevant profit center. Then where that amount will fall, that amount will fall under the dummy profit center. It will come into the dummy profit center and from where we need to manually transfer it to the relevant profit center. And that is the reason we need to define this dummy profit center, and this is also a mandatory step. So without this, we will not be able to work on the profit center accounting. So how to define this dummy profit center, and without this, you will also not able to create your profit center. You will not be able to create the profit center without this. So let's have here the transaction code K59 through which we can create it, and we can give the ID as dummy underscore 2266, and then we can press enter button. We can go into the master data, click on the basic data, and here we can give the name that this is the dummy profit center we have for 2266 dummy profit center, and it is to be linked with the profit center hierarchy which we have maintained as PCTR underscore 2266. After this, we need to click on the save data. Click on the save data. So here it is saying that your dummy profit center has been created. Now we can move to the next step. So we have our next step, step number 23, where we need to set the control parameter for the actual data. So the way we are maintaining the data into the finance, so it will also flow into the profit center accounting. So in the profit center accounting, again, we will be having the actual data, planned data. So for that actual and planned data, we need to maintain the control parameter. And for this, we have this step number 23. How that control parameter needs to be set up, how this control parameter need to be set up for this actual data, we can run transaction code 1K here. Let's have here the transaction code 1K here. So again, the controlling area is 2266 for which we want to maintain this control parameter for the actual posting. Click on the new entry button. From which year you want the data to be flown into the profit center accounting for this actual posting. From the year 2024, it should be done. And what type of data you want to get transferred into this profit center accounting online? It is going to be the line item data and online transfer. What do you mean by the online transfer? If somebody is doing the posting in FI and it is related to the profit center accounting, then simultaneously it will flow into the profit center accounting. That is the online transfer. Press enter button, save it, and then we can come out of it. Then after this step number 24, we have step number 20, sorry, after this step number 23, we have the step number 24 where now we need to maintain the plan data. We need to set the control parameter for the plan data. And for this, we can use the same transaction code. It is OKEQ. Transaction code is OKEQ. Enter. And remember this version we have activated for the year for our controlling area. Okay. Now what we need to do, we need to pick the same version. And on the left side, we need to double click on this option called setting for the profit center accounting. And then click on the new entry button. Here also we need to give our start year as 2024. And again for the plan data also, we need to select the online transfer and line item data transfer. And if in the plan data we have the values in the foreign currency, then that foreign currency value should be translated by system into the local currency. And with exchange rate, with the exchange rate, it is M, average rate, average rate. Now I'm going to save it. Click on the save option, and then we can come out of it. Then after this step number 24, we need to move to the step number 25 where we need to maintain the number range for our profit center document. So the way you will be getting the FI document, controlling document, if it is relevant for the profit center, then we'll be getting the profit center document. And for the profit center document number range, we need to run this transaction code GB02. Transaction code is GB02. We can click on this copy sub object. We can give here the ID as 0001, which is standard provided by the SAP, and we can give here our ID, which is 2266. Enter. Enter. So here we have given the reference of the company code 0001, and all that number ranges system has copied to the company code 2266. If you want to view them, you can click on this display interval, mention your company code ID here 2266. Enter. So all these number ranges system has copied from 0001 to 2266 company code for the profit center data. Now we can just come out of here, and then we have the next step, step number 26. It is saying that now let's create the profit center. Let's create the profit center, and profit center creation we can do with the help of transaction code KE51. So let's have here the transaction code KE51 for the profit center creation. So for the profit center master data, we need to give the ID. Let's have here the ID as 226601. This is my first profit center in the controlling area 2266. Press enter button. It will take us to the master data. In the master data, we can just see the analysis period starting from this year to year 9999. So let it be the year as 11/1900 to 999 year. We can give the name. This is the profit center we have for the plant 1. We have the profit center for the plant 1. Actually, in the manufacturing company, plant can be created as a profit center, and in the IT companies, if we are creating the profit center, so we have different business units. We have different BUs. So those business units we can create as a profit centers. And product can also be created as a profit center. Product line can also be created as a profit center. Normally, plants are created as a profit centers. So let's assume that plant A that we created as a first profit center. Person responsible, you can take any name. Then we can also give the reference of our profit center hierarchy, which we have maintained as PCTR underscore. double to double six. Now this you can't save it. So if you try to save this profit center, it will not be saved with this save option. You need to always click on this activate button. Click on the activate button. Now you can just see system will give you the notification that the profit center has been created. So we can just come out of here. So we'll be having one more profit center. So let's have here the ID as 02 226602, and this we want to get created by taking a reference of our existing one, which is 226601. Enter. So except the name, I want to keep it everything same. Let it be plant B we have here, and we can have here different name. Then we can again click on this activate button. So we have now with us two profit centers. So we can use those we can use these two profit center. Where these are to be assigned? These are to be assigned in the cost center. Now, what do you mean by the cost center? So cost center accounting is your department wise accounting. So for example, in any of the company, you will see you will have different department. You have finance department, production department, marketing department, sales department, HR department, R&D department. We'll be having multiple department. And for each of the department, we can create a we can create a cost center. We can create a cost center, and we can make it mandatory that whenever we will be incurring any expense, whenever we'll be incurring any expense, whether it is a repair, wages, rent, maintenance, any kind of expense we are incurring, it is to be allocated to the relevant department or relevant cost center. So if you want to do that kind of a department wise accounting, so you want to know that okay, which department is incurring how much expense, if it is the planned, how much is the planned value, how much is the actual value, you want to see the gap. So that kind of reporting we can have it through the cost center accounting. And in order to create this cost center, in order to work on the cost center accounting, we need to create this cost center standard hierarchy. We need to create this cost center standard hierarchy. So we'll be doing it in detail when we'll be starting the cost center accounting, profit center accounting. But here, because it is mandatory to create this object, to use this object, that is the reason I'm giving you some heads up. So here it is saying that how you will be creating this cost center standard hierarchy. So this we have already created at the time of defining the controlling area. So we have already given the ID for the cost center standard hierarchy where we have given it. So we'll go to the we will go to the controlling area 2266. In this, if you just scroll down, we have a field called CCTR. CCTR means cost center, STD means standard hierarchy. So we have given the hierarchy ID as H underscore 2266. Now, when I'm going to create the actual standard hierarchy with the help of transaction code OKQ, which is our current step, you can just see OKUN, step number 27. So it will show you the same ID. Let me use this transaction code OKUN. Now you can just see it is taking the same standard hierarchy, 2266. And from where it is capturing from your controlling area. So this is the ID we have given, but the description has not been given. If you want to maintain the description, you can mention here that this is the cost center standard hierarchy we have for the W66. After that, press enter button. You can just see the name has been changed over here also. Now we can save it. Click on the save option. In this standard hierarchy, what we need to do, we need to create various groups. And under these groups, we can create the cost centers. Let me just show you some existing hierarchy. Let's say it is for the OKKP, we have the controlling area 0001. And in this 0001, we have the standard hierarchy with the ID 0001. And if it is to be checked with KSH3, that is there is a transition code through which we can just check it. You can just see controlling area is coming as 2266. It has to be 0001, otherwise it will not be shown. So here we can change this controlling area by going in the menu, extra, set the controlling area as 0001. And here we can have the cost center. Now you can just see these are the functional areas. Okay, these are the areas we have maintained, or these are the, I would say, groups we have maintained. Below these groups, we have created the cost center. You can just see these are the cost centers we have. So this is the dummy cost center. Now, if you just see the actual one, so these are the cost centers we have. So we have the cost center under the logistics as the warehouse, energy, building, vehicle. Same way under the production, we have the department one, department two, department three, and so on and so forth. So this is the hierarchy we can maintain under the cost center standard hierarchy. So the same kind of hierarchy we also need to have it for our controlling area. And for this, we can use this option called create. Click on the create option, and here we can create the lower level group for our functional areas, for our functional groups. And the first functional group, we want to give the ID. For this, it is 6601. This is the ID I have given for the first functional group as production group. Save it. Likewise, we'll have the next group as keep the cursor on 6601. And here we can click on this option called create the group at the same level. So I have randomly picked the last two numbers of my controlling area, and 01 is for the first production group, 02 is going to be for the second one, 03, 4, 5, 6 for the subsequent one. So now the second one I need to create it. So let it be 66, and then we have 02. It is for the next group, which is going to be the service group. Service group. Then the third is going to be right click, and same option we need to select it, create group, same level. So let's have here the ID as 6603, and it is going to be the sales group. Likewise, we can create a number of groups, and under these groups, we can create the cost centers. So for the creation of the cost center, we need to use here the transaction code. It is KS01. Here it is also available. It is mentioned in the practice sheet. So after completing this step number 27, we have step number 28, where we need to create the cost center. Transaction code is KS01. Transaction code, we are going to run KS01, enter. So here, once again, make sure you have your relevant controlling area under which you are creating the cost centers. So our first cost center ID is 6601. In the production department, I am creating it, and the production group we have with the ID 6601. In this, I am going to create the first cost center. So here, what is the length we have been given by the SAP? What is the maximum length of creating the cost center? So the maximum length for the creation of the cost center provided by the SAP, it is up to the 10 digits. It is up to the 10 character, could be alphanumeric. So let it be the ID as 66010001. After that, we can give the validity. So whenever you will be defining any controlling object, so for that SAP is going to ask for the validity. So by default, we can select the validity from 111900 to 999 here, enter, and then we can give the name. So this is for the production department, production department. Person responsible, you can take any name. And then we have the cost center category, press F4 key. So because it is related to the production, and production we have under the category F, select F. Then we can have here the hierarchy. We can give here the hierarchy. So here, let's have here the hierarchy ID as 6601, which is related to the, because it is related to the production, we can pick the first one, group name 6601. After this, we can just go down, and then we can just see we have a field called profit center. And in this profit center, we have two profit centers with us. So here we can select the relevant one. Let's have here the first one, 226601, and then we can save. Now let's have here the second cost center, and this second cost center we can create under the second group. We have 6602. 001 is the first cost center. So this is the ID for the cost center, 660200. Now press enter button, give the description, then we can give the person responsible. Cost center category is going to be different this time. It is related to the service. So here we can select the category as such. Hierar- Hierarchy area, it is going to be this time double G. It is going to be 6602. 6602. And then here we have the profit center ID as press F4 key, enter. Let's have it the second one. Save. Remember the cost center, okay? If you want to make the changes in the, sorry, remember the profit center. If you want to make the changes in the profit center, you can go to the KE52 transaction code. And here we have profit center 1 and 2, okay? Because we have defined the segment, but we have not assigned it in the profit center. Where it is to be assigned, I'll let you know. So here I just forgot to mention this thing. So go to the profit center master data. You can just see this is the field where we can assign the segment. So we have two segments with the ID 22661 and 2. So let's have here the first one, retail business, and I'm going to save it. Okay, it is saying that it is to be activated. And now the next is 02. It is going to be assigned to the segment 22662, and then we can first save, then we can click on this activate button. So we have done these assignment. Now what next we need to do? So we are done with the cost center creation, profit center creation, segment creation, assignment also. Then what next we have? So we are almost done with the basic setting. So now we need to start creating the GL. And for the creation of the GL, we can go to the general ledger accounting.